Imagine standing in a place where winter temperatures fall below -50 degrees Celsius, where your breath freezes in the air and the ground beneath your feet has been locked in ice for thousands of years. Most people would say farming here is impossible. No soil, no long summer, no warm rain, just frozen earth, endless snow, and darkness that lasts for weeks. But in Yakutsk, one of the coldest cities on Earth, people are doing something that seems impossible. They are growing food, real food, fresh vegetables, herbs, and even delicate plants that normally belong to warm climates. Today we begin a journey into a world where agriculture should not exist and yet somehow thrives. This is not science fiction. This is survival mixed with innovation, tradition, and determination. The first thing you notice in Yakutsk during winter is silence. The snow absorbs sound, the air feels heavy, and everything seems frozen in time. Cars must be heated constantly. Buildings stand on stilts because the ground below cannot melt. Even water pipes are carefully insulated against the cold. In such an environment, farming sounds like a joke. But local people learned long ago that survival here depends on adaptation. For generations, communities preserved food through drying, freezing, and fermentation. However, modern life created a new challenge: access to fresh vegetables during long winters. Transporting food from warmer regions is expensive and unreliable. Fresh produce can take days or weeks to arrive, losing quality and becoming costly. That problem pushed local farmers and engineers toward an unexpected solution: create controlled green worlds inside the frozen land. As we walk toward one of these greenhouses, steam escapes through the doorway into the freezing air. Outside, the temperature is brutal. Inside, it feels like another planet. Rows of green leaves stretch toward warm lights. Moist air fills the space. You hear quiet fans, gentle water flow, and soft footsteps on warm ground. The contrast is almost shocking. How can such life exist here? The answer begins with understanding permafrost, the permanently frozen soil that defines this entire region. Permafrost is not just frozen soil. It is a massive layer of earth that remains below 0 degrees for years, sometimes centuries. In many places around Yakutsk, the ground never fully thaws, even in summer. This creates a paradox for farmers. Plants need soil that breathes, drains, and warms, but permafrost behaves more like concrete than earth. If you try to plant directly into it, roots freeze and water cannot move properly. When the surface warms unevenly, the ground shifts and cracks, a process known as frost heave. Buildings crack, roads warp, and farms can collapse if not carefully designed. Farming here means fighting the ground itself. Early attempts at agriculture failed repeatedly. Traditional soil froze too quickly. Greenhouses lost heat faster than expected. Water lines turned to ice overnight, but every failure provided lessons. Farmers began experimenting with raised beds, separating growing soil from the frozen earth below. Layers of insulation were placed under planting areas: wood, foam, and sometimes air pockets designed to block cold from rising upward. Some systems even circulate warm air or water beneath the soil, creating an artificial summer underground. It is a constant balancing act. Too much heat and the permafrost melts unevenly, destabilizing structures. Too little heat and plants die. Farming here is not about conquering nature, it is about negotiating with it. Inside the greenhouse, a farmer carefully checks small seedlings. His hands move slowly, almost respectfully. Every plant represents effort, energy, and risk. Heating these structures costs money. Electricity powers lights during dark months. Maintenance never stops, yet the farmer smiles as he picks a fresh leaf and tastes it. He explains that growing food here brings pride. It is proof that life can exist anywhere if people understand their environment deeply enough. For many families, these greenhouses are more than businesses. They are symbols of independence from supply chains that may fail during winter storms. Greenhouse design in Yakutsk looks different from what you might see in warmer countries. The walls are often multi-layered to trap heat. Some use double or triple plastic skins with air gaps acting as insulation. Others include thermal curtains that close at night to reduce heat loss. Orientation matters too. Structures are positioned to capture the little sunlight available during winter months. Even the shape of the roof is designed to prevent snow accumulation because heavy snow can collapse weak structures. Engineers and farmers collaborate closely, blending practical experience with scientific knowledge. Lighting plays a major role in this artificial ecosystem. During winter, daylight may last only a few hours. Plants would never survive without assistance. LED grow lights provide the spectrum needed for photosynthesis while using less energy than older systems. The soft purple and pink glow creates an almost futuristic atmosphere. plants grow steadily, unaware of the darkness outside. The farmers joke that their vegetables live a better winter life than humans do. Water management is another challenge. Liquid water is precious in freezing climates. Some greenhouses collect and recycle moisture from the air, reducing waste. Warm water pipes run carefully insulated to prevent freezing. In certain setups, hydroponic systems replace soil entirely, allowing roots to grow in nutrient-rich water solutions. Hydroponics reduces disease and allows faster growth, but it demands constant monitoring. Sensors measure temperature, humidity, and nutrient balance. Technology and tradition blend together in unexpected harmony. Local farmers often come from families with deep knowledge of Arctic living. Older generations understood seasonal cycles, animal behavior, and food preservation techniques. Younger generations add new ideas, digital monitoring, energy-efficient designs, and improved crop selection. Together, they experiment with what can grow best. Leafy greens, onions, herbs, radishes, and cucumbers are common choices because they mature quickly and tolerate indoor environments. Some farmers even experiment with strawberries or tomatoes, testing the limits of what the Arctic can produce. Beyond the technical challenges, there is a human story. Working in a greenhouse during deep winter offers emotional comfort. Outside is cold, dark, and unforgiving. Inside is warmth, color, and life. Many farmers describe the experience as therapeutic. The smell of soil and plants breaks the monotony of winter. For local communities, greenhouses become gathering places where knowledge is exchanged and children learn that food does not simply come from stores. They see the effort behind every leaf. Food security is a major reason these projects continue to grow. Importing fresh produce into remote regions is expensive. Weather disruptions can delay deliveries for days. Locally grown food reduces dependency and ensures a stable supply. Restaurants proudly serve local greens and markets promote produce grown right in Yakutsk. Consumers appreciate freshness and many are willing to pay slightly more knowing the effort involved. Over time, local agriculture strengthens the regional economy and creates new jobs in engineering, logistics, and farming. Climate change adds another layer to the story. Rising global temperatures are affecting permafrost stability, creating new risks and opportunities. In some areas, warmer summers slightly extend the growing season. In others, melting permafrost threatens infrastructure. Farmers must adapt continuously, modifying systems and monitoring ground movement. Their experience offers valuable lessons for other cold regions facing similar challenges. What happens in Yakutsk today may influence future farming strategies across the Arctic. As evening arrives, the greenhouse lights glow brighter against the darkening sky. Outside, temperatures drop rapidly, but inside the plants continue growing. The farmer closes the door carefully, checking seals to prevent heat loss. This small action highlights the constant vigilance required. Farming here is never passive. Every day involves small decisions that determine success or failure. Standing outside, looking back at the glowing structure surrounded by endless snow, the contrast feels symbolic. Human ingenuity creating a pocket of life in one of Earth's harshest environments. This is not about defeating nature but learning to work with its rules. In Yakutsk, agriculture becomes a story of resilience, proof that even frozen ground can support growth when knowledge, technology, and determination come together. But this is only the beginning. In the next part, we will go deeper into the engineering secrets behind these Arctic greenhouses. We will explore heating systems, insulation strategies, and the daily routines that keep plants alive when temperatures fall to levels most of us cannot imagine. We will meet more farmers who reveal the hidden struggles behind each harvest and discover how this experiment in extreme agriculture might shape the future of food production in cold regions around the world. For now, remember this image: a warm greenhouse glowing in the darkness of Siberian winter, green life thriving where nature seems to say no. That contrast is the heart of Yakutsk's farming story, a reminder that limits often exist only until someone decides to challenge them. When the temperature outside drops to -50°C, survival becomes a technical operation. Inside Yakutsk's greenhouses, agriculture is not just about planting seeds, it is about engineering. Every wall, every pipe, every light bulb plays a role in protecting fragile life from an environment that can freeze exposed skin in minutes. In this part, we go deeper into the systems that make Arctic farming possible, the hidden infrastructure behind every green leaf. Step inside before sunrise. Outside, the sky is dark blue and silent. Snow creaks under your boots. As the greenhouse door opens, a wave of warm air meets the freezing morning. Immediately you hear a soft mechanical rhythm, fans circulating air, pumps moving water, heaters maintaining stability. Unlike traditional farms that depend on sun and rain, this ecosystem depends on precision. Temperature must remain steady, humidity must be controlled, light cycles must mimic natural seasons. A greenhouse in Yakutsk functions more like a laboratory than a field. The first challenge is insulation. Heat is life here. Without proper insulation, energy costs would be unbearable and plants would die within hours. Many greenhouses use double or triple layer polycarbonate panels instead of simple glass. Between layers, trapped air acts as insulation. Some systems include inflatable air pockets that expand at night, adding another barrier against cold. Thermal curtains automatically close after sunset, sealing warmth inside. Farmers constantly inspect for small cracks or weak seals because even a tiny opening can allow cold air to rush in and disturb the entire climate balance. Heating systems vary depending on budget and design. Some use electric heaters powered by the city grid, others rely on boilers fueled by gas or diesel. In certain experimental projects, geothermal energy is used. Yakutsk sits on deep permafrost, but underground temperature gradients can still be harnessed. Warm water is circulated through pipes beneath raised beds, gently warming the soil from below. This method prevents roots from freezing and maintains a stable root zone temperature, which is often more important than air temperature for plant health. Soil management in permafrost regions requires creative separation. Farmers never allow planting beds to sit directly on frozen ground. Instead, raised beds are built with multiple layers, insulation board at the base followed by gravel for drainage, then carefully prepared soil mixed with compost. This layered approach prevents cold from creeping upward and ensures roots have breathable, nutrient-rich material. Compost is particularly valuable. Organic waste generates natural heat as it decomposes, providing an additional source of warmth. Some farmers deliberately integrate composting chambers near planting zones to capture this energy. Water, surprisingly, is one of the most difficult elements to manage. Liquid water exposed to extreme cold freezes almost instantly. Pipes must be insulated and sometimes heated along their entire length. Many greenhouses include water recycling systems that collect condensation from interior walls. This captured moisture is filtered and reused, minimizing waste. Hydroponic systems take efficiency even further. In hydroponics, plants grow without traditional soil. Their roots sit in nutrient-rich water solutions circulating through controlled channels. This allows faster growth and reduces the weight load on greenhouse floors, an important factor when structures stand above permafrost. Lighting technology has transformed Arctic farming. Traditional incandescent bulbs generate too much heat and consume excessive electricity. Modern LED grow lights provide specific light wavelengths optimized for photosynthesis. Blue light encourages leaf growth, red light promotes flowering. Farmers can adjust the spectrum based on crop type. During the darkest winter months, artificial lighting may run for up to 16 hours per day. Carefully programmed timers simulate sunrise and sunset, preventing plant stress. Energy efficiency is critical because heating and lighting together account for the majority of operating costs. Energy management becomes a balancing act between cost and productivity. Some greenhouses install solar panels, though winter sunlight is limited. Others experiment with small wind turbines, taking advantage of Siberia's open landscapes. Backup generators are common because power outages during extreme cold could destroy entire harvests within hours. Every farm operator lives with that awareness. Resilience requires redundancy. Systems are layered and backups are always ready. Inside the greenhouse, daily routines are structured around monitoring. Sensors measure soil temperature, air humidity, carbon dioxide levels, and light intensity. Farmers review data each morning. If humidity rises too high, mold could develop. If temperature fluctuates, plant growth slows. Ventilation systems regulate airflow without allowing cold drafts to harm crops. Some operations now integrate smartphone monitoring, allowing farmers to check greenhouse conditions remotely during storms. Crop selection is strategic. Fast-growing leafy greens dominate production because they require less time and energy. Lettuce varieties adapt well to indoor systems. Spinach and arugula tolerate cooler root temperatures. Radishes mature quickly, offering reliable harvest cycles. Cucumbers and tomatoes demand more heat and support structures but command higher prices in local markets. Experimentation continues each season. Farmers test new seeds, searching for varieties that can thrive under artificial conditions with minimal input. Despite the technical complexity, agriculture here remains deeply human. During midday breaks, farmers gather near heaters to drink tea and discuss results. Conversations mix tradition with innovation. Older growers remember when imported vegetables were rare luxuries. Younger farmers see greenhouse work as part of a larger sustainability movement. They speak about reducing carbon footprints, supporting local food systems, and strengthening regional independence. Education plays an increasing role. Schools sometimes visit greenhouses, introducing students to Arctic agriculture. Children who grow up surrounded by snow are often surprised to see fresh greens thriving locally. These visits inspire curiosity about science, engineering, and environmental stewardship. Some students later pursue agricultural technology careers, continuing the cycle of innovation. Financially, Arctic farming remains challenging. Heating and electricity costs are significant. Government subsidies sometimes support local food initiatives, recognizing their importance for food security. Restaurants and supermarkets promote locally grown in Yakutsk labels, encouraging community pride. Consumers value freshness, especially during long winters when imported vegetables may arrive wilted. Over time, improved efficiency has reduced production costs, making greenhouse farming increasingly viable. However, risks remain constant. Severe storms can damage structures, fuel shortages can disrupt heating. Equipment failure during peak winter conditions can wipe out weeks of growth. Farmers learn to anticipate problems before they happen. Maintenance is continuous. Bolts are tightened, panels reinforced, insulation replaced. Every small repair protects months of work. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of Yakutsk's agriculture is its blend of fragility and strength. The plants themselves are delicate. A single cold draft could damage leaves. Yet the system supporting them is engineered for resilience. Steel frames resist wind, multi-layered walls trap heat, backup power systems stand ready. Human attention bridges the gap between vulnerability and survival. As night falls again, LED lights cast a soft glow across rows of green plants. Outside, temperatures continue dropping. The greenhouse becomes a self-contained world, humming quietly in the darkness. For the farmers, this controlled ecosystem represents possibility. It proves that even in extreme climates, innovation can rewrite expectations. In the next and final part, we will step back and explore the broader implications of Yakutsk's farming experiment. What lessons can other cold regions learn? Could these technologies support remote communities elsewhere, or even future space habitats? And how might climate change reshape the balance between frozen ground and growing life? Yakutsk's greenhouses are more than local projects. They may represent a glimpse into the future of agriculture in extreme environments. For now, inside this warm Arctic oasis, the plants continue their silent work, converting light into life, defying the cold beyond the walls. Growing Green in Yakutsk Part 3 Script Final Part Approx. 2,000 plus words. Stand outside at night in Yakutsk and look across the frozen landscape. Snow stretches endlessly. The air bites at your lungs. The sky feels heavy and distant. And then, in the middle of that darkness, you see it, a soft golden glow, a greenhouse, a pocket of life surrounded by one of the harshest climates on Earth. What started as a local solution to food shortages has become something much bigger. Yakutsk's agriculture experiment is no longer just about growing lettuce in winter. It represents a blueprint for farming in extreme environments, a model that could influence cold regions across the Arctic, remote mountain communities, and even future settlements beyond Earth. To understand its future, we must first recognize the scale of the challenge. Permafrost regions cover nearly a quarter of the northern hemisphere. Millions of people live on land that never fully thaws. As climate patterns shift, these regions are becoming more unstable. Infrastructure cracks, roads deform, traditional food systems become less predictable. In this uncertainty, controlled agriculture offers stability. Yakutsk's greenhouse systems show that extreme cold is not an absolute barrier. It is an engineering problem. When temperature becomes predictable inside a structure, farming becomes possible. The question now is not, can we grow food here? The question is, how efficiently can we do it? Researchers studying Arctic agriculture are paying attention. Universities and environmental institutes analyze insulation methods, energy consumption models, and crop performance data from Yakutsk. They want to know how to reduce heating costs further. Can waste heat from nearby factories warm greenhouses? Can geothermal sources be expanded? Could underground farming provide even better insulation? There are already experiments underway exploring partially subterranean greenhouses. By building structures slightly below ground level, farmers use the earth itself as insulation. Even frozen soil provides more stable temperatures than open air. Combined with modern insulation materials, these hybrid designs could reduce energy demand dramatically. Another frontier lies in vertical farming. Instead of expanding outward, some Yakutsk growers are building upward. Multi-level growing racks increase yield per square meter. LED lighting allows plants to grow without direct sunlight. This approach is especially valuable in urban areas where land is limited. Apartment-based microfarms are appearing in small numbers, allowing families to grow herbs and greens indoors year-round. The idea of food independence continues to drive innovation. Importing vegetables to remote Arctic regions remains expensive. Transport relies on long supply chains vulnerable to weather disruptions. By producing food locally, communities gain resilience. They are less dependent on distant markets and fuel-heavy logistics. In times of crisis, that independence becomes invaluable, but the story extends beyond economics. There is cultural meaning in growing food where nature seems resistant. It reshapes identity. Yakutsk is often described by outsiders as frozen and inhospitable, yet these greenhouses tell a different story, one of creativity, adaptability, and quiet determination. Agriculture becomes a symbol of possibility. Climate change adds complexity. Rising global temperatures are slowly altering permafrost conditions. In some areas, warmer summers lengthen the potential growing season outdoors. However, thawing permafrost also creates structural risks. Greenhouses must be designed to accommodate shifting ground. Engineers now incorporate adjustable foundations and flexible frames that can tolerate movement without cracking. Interestingly, lessons from Yakutsk are attracting attention from space research organizations. Extreme cold farming shares similarities with extraterrestrial agriculture. Controlled environments, artificial lighting, water recycling, and insulation against hostile conditions are central themes in space habitat design. If humans plan to establish long-term settlements on the Moon or Mars, they will rely on greenhouse systems not entirely different from those operating in Siberia today. In this way, Yakutsk becomes a testing ground for the future of humanity. If we can grow food reliably in -50°C, perhaps we can grow food anywhere. The constraints of cold force efficiency. Energy must be managed carefully, waste must be minimized, systems must be self-sustaining. These are principles relevant far beyond the Arctic. Back inside a Yakutsk greenhouse, a farmer inspects a new batch of seedlings. The process is methodical, soil temperature is checked, nutrient levels are adjusted, leaves are examined for stress. Outside, wind sweeps across snowdrifts. Inside, life progresses steadily. This daily routine may look simple, but it represents decades of learning. Farmers speak openly about the future. Some dream of expanding operations, increasing production to supply more of the city's demand. Others focus on improving efficiency, reducing energy consumption, experimenting with new crops, integrating renewable power. Collaboration between engineers, agricultural scientists, and local communities continues to strengthen. Community remains at the heart of this movement. Greenhouses often serve as gathering spaces during long winters. Families visit, schools organize tours. Children learn that food can be grown locally, even in extreme climates. This education builds long-term resilience. A generation raised understanding controlled agriculture may carry those skills into future challenges. There is also a psychological dimension. Winters in Yakutsk are long and dark. Exposure to greenery and warm environments provides emotional relief. Farmers describe the greenhouse as a sanctuary. The scent of soil and leaves offers comfort. In a region defined by cold, these spaces radiate warmth not only physically, but emotionally. However, expansion must be thoughtful. Large-scale agriculture requires more energy, more infrastructure, and more investment. Policymakers must balance sustainability with ambition. Subsidies and research grants can accelerate innovation, but long-term success depends on efficiency. The ultimate goal is to make Arctic agriculture self-supporting. Globally, interest in resilient food systems is rising. Extreme weather events disrupt traditional farming in many parts of the world. Heat waves, droughts, floods, each region faces unique challenges. Yakutsk's experience shows that controlled environment agriculture can buffer against unpredictable climates. Whether in deserts, polar zones, or urban centers, the principle remains the same: isolate crops from hostile conditions and manage their environment precisely. As night deepens, the greenhouse lights glow steadily. Snow reflects the golden hue, creating a surreal contrast between cold and warmth. It is easy to see why this image captures imagination. It feels symbolic, human knowledge creating islands of life within environmental extremes. In the coming years, we may see Arctic cities become hubs of agricultural innovation. What began as survival may evolve into expertise exported worldwide. Engineers trained in Yakutsk could design systems for Antarctica research stations. Arctic farming techniques could influence disaster relief agriculture in crisis zones. Even future space missions may trace inspiration back to these frozen greenhouses, yet at its core, this story remains simple. A seed placed in protected soil, light provided artificially, warmth maintained carefully, patience applied daily, growth observed quietly. Technology makes it possible, but dedication makes it sustainable. Standing once more outside in the freezing air, you look at the glowing greenhouse surrounded by endless snow. The wind howls softly. Temperatures continue falling, but inside, lettuce leaves stretch upward. Tiny radishes push through soil. Water flows gently through insulated pipes. Life persists. Yakutsk's agriculture does not deny the power of nature. It respects it. It adapts to it. It works within its limits. That philosophy may be the most important lesson of all. In a world facing increasing environmental uncertainty, survival will depend not on overpowering nature, but on understanding it deeply. Growing green in the permafrost is not a miracle. It is a method. It is proof that boundaries shift when knowledge expands, and as long as there are people willing to experiment, adjust, and persist, even the coldest ground on Earth can support life. The story of Yakutsk's unexpected agriculture reminds us of something universal. Where conditions seem impossible, innovation begins. Where the climate says no, curiosity asks how. And in that space between challenge and solution, humanity finds its strength. In the end, these glowing greenhouses are more than structures. They are statements. Statements that growth is possible anywhere. Statements that resilience is built through adaptation. And statements that even in -50 degrees, life can flourish when protected by vision and determination. The Arctic may be frozen, but its future is not.